We're gonna get copy struck by John Baptiste and Stay Human.
Hello everyone!
What's going on, people? Welcome, how you doing?
Live in New York City! It is Laymen Live, everybody!
This probably has higher production values than Stephen Colbert's room
at the moment.
This point.
At the moment. Well, he
Exactly
did
right.
actually make the fake room on set now, which you've probably
true.
seen. So it looks pretty fetch, but
What's
it
going
doesn't
on,
look as
people?
fetch as Laymen Live.
Hope you're all doing well out there. Hope you've had a fantastic week. We were live yesterday, actually, for Ubisoft Forward.
Copyrighted twice.
Was it really?
Yep.
Was it really? Did you delete the section?
Tried to. You know how you have to like delete the section, then it makes you wait
Yeah.
a long time for
Yeah.
it to buffer?
Sure.
Pain in the butt. Anyway, I think it was one of the Stormzy songs and something else, right?
Sure.
Long story short, thank you very much yet again, YouTube.
It's probably that weird song that they use for Gods and Monsters. Remember that Immortal Phoenix Rising?
That might be the second one.
They had some weird sort of like soul track or whatever
Yeah.
over the top of killing Greek gods. It
Very
was
weird.
Very odd.
Was that
Sorry.
kind of like the Mortal Kombat thing, you know, when they use that trap beat stuff while they're doing Mortal Kombat? It just didn't
the
fit.
mumble rap?
The mumble rap.
The mumble rap.
It didn't
That's
fit, okay? But guys, this is Laymen Live 469.20. So we're 469.20, and that's what I said today.
469.20.
469.20 okay?
Hope everyone's had a good week.
Did you sleep yesterday after the thing?
I actually collapsed last night at about 8 o'clock.
Oh, I had to sleep all day.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I was very tired. I was very tired. I actually fell asleep while I was doing Layman Live. I was in bed.
Oh, really?
And I was doing Layman Live on my laptop, and I was just like, I was out. That was it.
I was like, no wonder we don't have many topics to talk about today.
yeah. I was like halfway through Layman Live, I just passed out.
Yeah.
Guys.
So there's like a big chunk that I'm not up to speed with.
Yeah. This is we're
Great.
gonna be doing it on the fly, Sam.
I like this. It's kind of a game that we've played before.
Correct.
Just read the headline, then talk about the news.
Correct.
It's not a bad little segment.
Exactly
everybody.
right. So Sam, what have you been playing this week? What's been
Oh my
happening on
god,
the
we've been
gameplay
playing
front?
the Tony Hawk. Very good, as you guys saw, of
Very
course.
fetch.
That was very good.
God, that was satisfying to play. Just
It
immediately,
was, and the
straight out of the gate.
competitiveness of it.
And the fact that I beat you, that felt good. You know, like it was just
the very
the
end.
natural order of things. It all just came together.
New one. And then we also played BPM. We also played
BPM, baby.
But we had the
That's good
demo
shit.
version. We played.
No, we played the full version.
Oh, we have. Okay, I didn't know if that was. You know.
Don't lie to our audience, Sam.
Well, I didn't know if we're under embargo.
we are under embargo,
okay?
but we
See?
can say that we played
Publishers
it.
and devs, you can trust us. You see what I mean? We got you back, especially
right.
EA. We got you back, boy. That's
right.
And we
Send us
also
a copy of Squadron.
yes.
They're
Oh,
not
yeah,
gonna
that would
do
be
that.
good. And we also played, of course, Among Us, which is probably my favorite game now. I cannot stop playing it.
Among Us is so funny because it's come out 2 years ago. I had no idea, by the way. And then all of a sudden, everyone's playing it. I'm like, oh, there's this new game come out called Among Us. How cool is that? It looks like Fall Guys in space, right?
It does.
The
It
characters
does.
look like Fall Guys.
Yes.
And then everyone's like, nah, dude, that's been out for like 2 years. I'm like, oh, but no one's been playing it for 2 years. It's like it's been completely dead for 2 years, and all of a sudden, everyone's playing it.
I don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
I watched a video. It said explaining why this is now a big thing, and it didn't explain why it's a big thing. It just explained that it's a meme. That's all it said.
I wonder if
I don't know.
I wonder if it's the social aspect of it, like because everyone's kind of in lockdown right now, and the fact that you actually get to experience this game that simulates social interactions in the way that it does, maybe that's a factor. I don't know. I'm guessing.
Yep.
We did actually play it this week. We've got a Let's Play recorded, which will go up tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, Australian time, Sunday night, something like that. So you guys will
So you
get
got to check that out.
in
It
Tuesday,
was
Australia.
literally the first time we'd ever played it, and we were just figuring it out.
was
And then
amazing.
by the end, we were like, "Holy shit!
It's so
This
easy.
is the best."
It's so easy to understand.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy. Like,
you
even
can-
my girlfriend loves it. We were playing it all night
you-
last night.
what?
Alicia
Really? Oh, no way.
Loves it. Me and her were versing Nadine and Thick Boy.
And do you guys talk when you do it? Or
No,
you just
we
typing?
don't.
Okay, just
you
the
don't.
typing.
Well, you can call
No,
each other,
sure,
of course,
sure,
but
sure.
yeah, it's very good.
That's so funny. And you can get it on phone for free, by the way. If
I've
you're
been playing it this morning.
If you're watching now, you can go to Android or probably iOS as well and download it for free. They
After the show,
They
you
just
know.
have an ad in between each thing. I couldn't believe that. So,
It's the smallest ad ever. It's just, it's not like this 20-second business you have to watch a video. It's literally
Sure.
a picture, you got to press X.
Yeah.
This is sponsored by Among Us.
yeah, right.
I told you guys about Among Us. It's very good. Super chat's already, guys.
Other than that, I also finished my
we played Avengers too, but that was like
Avengers.
last
I
year.
finished my
Last
Avengers
week.
review script and recording. It's 50 minutes long. I wasn't really expecting it to be that long, but it is. It's being edited at the moment. It'll be out next week. Did you see that IGN gave Avengers a 6 out of 10?
I did watch half the review.
It was only like 7 minutes long.
No, but because you said check it out, I went to the end to look at the.
You just go to the score.
What the rate was.
That's what everyone does.
I didn't get that, but I just saw the compilation of showing all like the buggy moments and them saying that there was a glimmer of hope here, and that's kind of what you were feeling too.
No, it's true. It's true.
So that's the only reason why I thought. That's the only reason why Ralph thought it was a good review, because he's like, that's what I think, guys. So IGN must be onto something.
That's true. That's 100% correct. That's exactly right. So that review will be out next week. Actually, GameSpot also put out their review. They gave it a 7 out of 10. Talking points are all very similar all round, which is like, hey, this game is really buggy. The loot absolutely sucks. The multiplayer missions are lame. There's no end game right now. But hey, the combat's cool and the campaign's fun. Like, that's it.
The campaign was fun. Yeah. The combat needs a bit of help, but anyway. So, anyway.
We'll come back to that point.
We'll come back to that.
Over 50 minutes. You know? Other than that, guys, we've got some super chats here. So Senyo's back. Welcome back to my friend. He says, Friday night with the Laymen. Sony event on PAX on the 18th. Any prediction of price of PS5 after Microsoft announced next-gen prices? Stay safe. I reckon that the PS5 is going to be more expensive than the Xbox One X, but they're going to have the disc-free edition, and I reckon that's going to be like, you know, they're going to come in and try and compete on that front. Like, they're going to be like, you can get a PS5 for like, you know, $449, like $50 cheaper than the Xbox One X. It's the same specs or whatever, it just doesn't have a disc, right? So you can get next-gen PS5 for cheaper than the Xbox One X. How about that?
I don't know. Okay, so I know PS3 was like really bad in terms of the price point for that. That was horrendous. Like $1,000 Australian. That was like back in like, what, 2008 or some shit. I don't know what the price comparison was of PS4 to Xbox One. Which one was more expensive?
I seem to remember them being the same or the same ballpark.
Oh, very similar. Well, this is going to be also ballpark. They've been both waiting for the other one to show their price. Yeah. I mean, there's every chance that PlayStation comes in like $1 cheaper, you know? Or they come in exactly on the same, like on the money.
Sure.
Because they both know it's not about how much these cost. It's about the install base. Just get people in, then make your money back on the actual games.
I agree. It's a point we'll come back to later on, because we've got a huge chunk talking about Xbox news this week, because they went completely nuts with all the stuff this week. This is absolute insanity. So we'll come back to that point. We had Drake, he's back. He says, Ralph, it's Clay Davis from The Wire impersonation time. Shit.
Who's Clay Davis again?
He's a politician.
He's not McNulty,
from
right?
The Wire. He's not McNulty. No, McNulty's McNulty. Clay Davis. Why would you ask? It doesn't
I
make
thought
any
maybe
sense.
that's the actor's name or something.
No,
you know.
no.
Anyway.
Forzathon is here. He says, man, Kena delay along with Deathloop and Halo Infinite bummed me out the most. Didn't even know Kena got a delay. Okay. Most 2021 lineup is just delayed 2020 games at this point. That's true. That is true. But at least we've got Cyberpunk. And now we've got Immortals Phoenix Rising, the worst named game ever.
Yeah.
Stefan Constantine Doomer something. He says, Ralph, please ask CD Projekt Red to buy the game rights for June. Anyone else who would bastardize it with MTX? Did you watch the June trailer?
Yeah.
I watched it. It looks pretty nice. I love that director. Denis Villeneuve.
I saw the memes for it, like people doing
the butthole worm.
No. I saw the. Oh, of course, I've seen the photos for that now, actually.
Sure,
but I've seen the. They were making what's the bring it all back to bring it all. No, I can't remember now. Posh Spice.
Oh, the Spice Girls, man.
Spice Girls.
I've seen that too.
There we go. We got there in the end.
Is lit.
We got there in the
I
end.
actually have never read Dune before, so I just bought it on Amazon then. So I'm going to start reading it today. So I'm actually looking forward to that. You guys, so Tipsy Tracy says, you guys keep saying fetch and my dog runs into the room asking what year it is. Love you both. That's a good comment, can I say? Well, many layers to that.
That is good,
it.
I like that.
Tess, if Sony don't offer a similar pay monthly scheme for PS5 like there is for Series X, you think it'll impact the sale of PS5? Absolutely, I do. I think that deal is pretty nuts. We'll come back to that point as well when we come to things. But let's talk about some news, ladies and gentlemen.
Some news.
This intro block has been too long. Let's get to some drama. It's been a whole week. We're itching for some drama, man. Give us some of that sweet drama. Did you know that Control fucked up again with their next-gen thing?
I'm surprised.
Did you read the story yet? Okay. Do you want to take this one?
Did I read this story?
Do you want to take this one, Sam?
If you've included it already, then I have this, and there's a bulk that I haven't, of course. Okay, so Control. Everyone knows that Control was a runner-up for Game of the Year. I was surprised that it was even a runner-up, but it got a lot of eyeballs on it. Okay, a lot of people played it. A lot of bugginess on console, so a lot of people were looking forward to next gen for this thing, right? there's definitely a trend right now. A lot of games are doing the smart delivery. If you bought the game already on current gen, you can play it again in the next gen, okay? Control came out maybe a month or so ago, maybe a month or two ago, saying, guys, we've explored all avenues. We can't make it work. We can't make it work in the way that we give this to people in the smart delivery format without having to purchase the special edition or something. This new special edition that they brought out recently that allows you to also get current gen and next gen. Anyway, turns out they fucked up badly because it's actually already been given to people accidentally.
Yes.
It's sneakily happened a couple of days ago, or maybe yesterday. It's very, very recent. And now, once they found out about this, they quickly backflipped and took that feature out, which has pissed people off even more. Because when this was originally actually brought up, people were like, hang on, what are you talking about? This is the biggest nonsense I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing things on Twitter like, how is CD Projekt Red bringing Witcher to next gen, smart delivery next gen, and Control's having all these issues with it? It doesn't make sense.
To be clear, by the way, the Witcher, CD Projekt Red aren't just like giving you a version of The Witcher on next gen. They're going back and adding shit to The Witcher. Like, they're adding ray tracing to The Witcher, for example.
Yeah.
And then they're going to give you that for free, okay? And these guys aren't actually doing anything for that. Like, they're just like, okay, cool, here's the next version, okay? But they're pushing it onto consoles, as in they can take the PC version with the expansions, pushing it onto consoles, and they're like, oh, no, we can't do that. No, not possible. So it's like, unbelievable. The exact quote here is, we already knew all of this, but as it turns out, owners of the deluxe edition have been silently upgraded to the ultimate edition over the course of today, but then they were degraded back down again as word got out, meaning that the functionality is no longer available. This was surfaced over on Resetra, where users began reporting that they could download the ultimate edition without charge. However, fast forward to now, and those same people have slapped in the face with an option of add to basket. So everything that 505 Games told us about this was complete bullshit. They, of course, could have upgraded people for free to the Ultimate Edition. They're choosing not to because they think that they will be able to sell more copies.
It's just a shame.
I have not met a single person online, by the way, who says, oh, I'm disappointed by this, but I will buy the Ultimate Edition. Everyone's just saying, fuck you, I'm not buying that. I've already bought it. I'm not going to buy it again. All you've done is trash the reputation of 505 Games. You've dragged Control and Remedy into the mud, even though this is not their fault, and you're not going to see sales out of it. You know what I mean? Like, no one is going to... What is the percentage of people that are going to go, well, I'll buy it again? Like, come on, man.
I think, look... Some people would have loved to jump on just to experience a smoother frame rate, ray tracing.
For sure, absolutely.
But they're not going to pay for that if they've already bought it. It really felt like people would have wanted to experience that if it was kind of part of the package. I do think if you're a contender for Game of the Year, as I said, there's a lot of eyeballs on your game. This becomes a marketing strategy, a marketing tool for you of that game. Whatever you do for that game. And if you do this anti-consumer crap, people are like, oh, cool. Well, you know what? Control isn't so cool anymore.
Control, Alt, Delete.
Oh, nice.
Nice, thank you.
Is that a segue into something else?
That's a segue. Let's do some super chats.
All right.
He says, Ray Bowers here. He says, currently, I'm on my first playthrough of Nier Automata. I've been wanting to catch that since SkillUp's review. Did you say in that for the true ending, it takes 3 playthroughs? Any special tasks for completing that? It does take essentially 3 playthroughs, and on the final playthrough, you're going to have to do some like reloading and stuff. Don't worry, you'll figure it out. It's pretty easy, and that playthrough 1 and 2, it's fine. Playthrough 3, just do some googling, and you'll figure it out really quick. But trust me, man, you're in for a ride. You love Nier Automata, didn't you, Sam?
Well,
What's your favorite?
B2 or 2B, or whatever her name is.
2B. Yeah, Francois here. He says the Xbox is cheaper than the Atari. That is true, actually.
Oh my god, that is true.
I have just bought the Atari. I've pre-ordered that stupid console just for the meme.
Yeah.
And the Xbox One X. Well, the S is significantly cheaper.
Yeah, it's like half as cheaper.
And the X is actually, I think, the same price.
It is $800, right, Aussie? With the controller included. I think it was $800.
What is?
The
Atari. Yeah, it is.
Or $850 or some shit, right? Yeah.
Zendru's here. He says, hey, Zendru, how you doing? He says, hey, mates, hope you're both well. I agree. Among Us is good. Spent hours playing it last night with a bunch of friends and couldn't stop laughing. I got your message this morning when I woke up about Among Us, but as I said, I was already asleep by that point because I was completely wrecked yesterday. Guys, bad news for GameStop. Sad times. GameStop is closing hundreds more stores.
A lot.
Here's the headline. GameStop is closing about 100 more stores than originally planned. with a struggling retailer warning of more closures next year. The company said in Wednesday's earnings call that between 400 and 450 stores globally will close this year, which is more than the 320 stores that GameStop originally said in March it was planning to shut up. The increase underscores how badly retailers are performing during the pandemic and shoppers shift their habits online.
I think this is also lining up pretty nicely with Sony pre-order online. They would have thought, well, we got some money coming through, it's all good. And then Sony's like, hey guys, by the way, just come to Sony.com and order it through us. There's so much money that GameStop now has lost because of that. And it's like, it's just lined up kind of pretty close, where they're like, well, let's close some more stores because now we have to lower our expectations of how much we're going to make this year.
I think that there's been just a seismic shift in retail habits with 2020 because everyone's had to shop online this year. Like you can't escape it now. Before then you're like, oh no, I always have to go to the store. It's like, well, when you can't go to the store because you're not allowed out of your house, you really start rethinking that, you know.
But GameStop is an essential service, remember that. If you need a massive keyboard, you need to go to GameStop.
Essential service, okay? GameStop, very
Let's not
important.
forget that. Okay?
So I think though that what really, a big nail in the coffin for them this week was this confirmation of these discless Xbox One S and also the PlayStation 5 having that diskless version. If you look at share price this week, it's dipped considerably. Obviously, this is a result of their earnings call as well, but I'm sure the news that there is a really cheap next-gen Xbox coming without a disc tray, I'm sure that really hurt GameStop as well, right? Because GameStop relies on next-gen consoles to basically float their boat for a couple of years. Because people come into store, they buy the console, they buy a whole bunch of games and peripherals and whatever else. And then after that, they'll come back and they'll buy a few more games, trade in their games, whatever else, okay? Trade-in as well is a huge component of their business, right? If people aren't buying games with discs, at the very start, that money's not going to GameStop. And furthermore, they can't come back and trade those games in, which is a huge part of GameStop's overall business model. Yeah. That really hurts GameStop big time.
I really... The two things. I do think that we are probably witnessing the last console generation. I do think that. It'll change significantly. It'll probably become some sort of PC.
It's the streaming generation next. It's all streaming at that point.
I think it will be. Just like we've seen with movies and music, right? I do think we're going to go towards that. People are like, I want to own my games. Fine, there'll always be maybe some avenue that you can still own games, just like you can still own a CD. I don't think GameStop... I think GameStop will become like Sanity. Sanity used to be huge CD stores. GameStop has no future in this current market. It's already massively digital in so many ways in terms of... Most of the games that I will purchase now are digital. I will not walk in to EB Games in Australia or Best Buy it would be in America and buy a game. I'll just buy it on... on PlayStation or something.
I know, but a lot of people do still like owning the disc.
Definitely, but this is the thing. I think you're right. If this next generation comes around, and I'm saving $250 or $300 or whatever Aussie to buy the next gen without a disc tray, I'm going to do that any day of the week. That is going to be a defining reason why most people will end up shopping digital for the next 5 years because they just didn't buy it with a disc tray because it was too expensive.
I do agree with that. big time. I think it's a big problem. It hits, as I said, GameStop on both sides of their business model. The brand new sales and the pre-owned. It really does.
There's no incentive for Xbox or PlayStation to continue to put disc trays in it in terms of they make more money if it's just on their own store. Like, why would they give it to EB Games or something or Best Buy and lose 30% or whatever it's going to be? They want this change to happen. They want people to buy more digital. So... on top of giving a cheaper product, they know in the long run, they're going to make more money off the, sad edition than they are going to make on the disc edition.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm not sad to see GameStop struggling. I think that's generally a garbage company in the way that they've charged prices and the ridiculous price gouging that they do on pre-owned games and the way they treat their staff and certainly the way they treat their managers in Australia because I used to work for them and they treated their managers like shit. I was never a manager, thankfully, because I always looked at the managers and I thought, Jesus Christ, you couldn't pay me $1 million a year to be in your job because they all got treated like shit. Anyway, that's GameStop. It's struggling. We got some Francois Bergman. He's back. Error 505 with your browser is version not supported. I kid you not, it's the best thing ever. Saw in a comment on Yong's video.
What was it?
Error 505. Is that like 505 games? Version not
with
supported?
Control, I guess?
I get it now. I'm
now.
with you. I'm with you.
I'm getting it now.
Francois, buddy. Guys, did you know that Cyberpunk's going to have microtransactions, and they lied to us?
Oh my
Did you
God.
know that?
Cyberpunk, man.
Just after that interview that Sam did with the guy, and he said no microtransactions, he promised.
Promised me, dude. Okay, so where do we start with this?
Where do we start with
Okay,
this?
so Cyberpunk 2077 is out in, when is it? November something? November, because it was pushed back from September 17th, when our original meme.
Yes.
Okay, so it's out in November sometime, right? So everyone's excited for this, we're excited for this, and we didn't do another meme video.
We didn't.
We did discuss it, but we're like, no, we're not going to do a 5-minute video full of memes of just saying the thing over and over again.
Sure.
Cyberpunk have CD Projekt Red have recently done an earnings call. And they're like, guys, when it comes to monetization, where's the quote exactly? It won't be aggressive. Now, the actual quote is a little bit further down. Here we go. Well, we're never aggressive towards our fans, he said. We treat them fairly and we're friendly, so of course not, we won't be aggressive, but you can expect great things to be bought. The goal is to design monetization in a way that makes people happy to spend money. I'm not trying to be cynical or hide something. It's about creating a feeling of value. I mean, EA does that every day. Ultimate Team. I feel like I have the ultimate team once I've spent money on Ultimate Team.
So where this got really tricky is that GameStop ran this article with a different headline at the beginning, and they just said Cyberpunk 2077 says microtransactions won't be aggressive. They left out the multiplayer part. So they've amended this headline since then. The internet went pretty crazy because everyone's like, what? Cyberpunk has microtransactions? They promised us they wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff because of this headline. It really got going. Of course, they've always said that Cyberpunk will not have microtransactions. That's a fact. They've said that separate to Cyberpunk, there is a multiplayer game being developed. It is unclear at this point if it is an add-on to Cyberpunk 2077 or if it is a separate game entirely in the Cyberpunk universe. Or we literally don't know what that thing is yet. And they've always said from the start that whatever that project is, which is going to be released at least 2 years after the release of Cyberpunk. Yeah, they said it's no earlier than about 2 years after the release of Cyberpunk. That project will be monetized, okay? We also don't know if that's going to be a free product or if it's a paid game or whatever else. We have no idea. But so many people were like jumping to conclusions like, oh, CD Projekt Red, can't trust anything they say now. They lied to us, whatever else. They've always been straight up about this. Yeah. They've always been upfront, you know?
I mean, I think we're moving more and more towards multiplayer games becoming free-to-play models. You know, we're seeing it with COD, like all battle royales and whatever. Isn't there talk also of Halo Infinite having its own separate...
Yeah, Halo Infinite multiplayer is free-to-play.
Exactly right. There we go. That's going to happen more and more. So it's not a dirty word for a multiplayer a game to be free to play.
Person with number says sex position microtransactions.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
If it was the Avengers, they would definitely do that. All those like all those finishes. Right? That's what they need.
The epic finisher.
The epic finisher.
Called the money shot. There goes
that monetization on this video.
It was fun while
Dig deep, people. This video's getting demonetized.
Where are we going with this? So yeah, I mean, Cyberpunk, good, whatever. That's it.
Cyberpunk, good, whatever. Look, as I said, the other thing is, a lot of people are just like, oh, well, if it's microtransactions, it has to be bad. Okay, it's definitely terrible. All microtransactions are terrible, and like, I just fundamentally don't agree with that. I really think it's possible for a company to charge fair microtransaction prices. The problem is that most games just take the piss. They charge ridiculous amounts for skins, or they pile too much in there, and it feels like it really hurts the main game. There's a balance to be found with like in-game spending that like 95% of games just don't land.
Yeah.
So they just need to get that right. And I really believe that CD Projekt Red are going to try. I'm not going to say, oh, they're going to do it for sure, man. Trust them. Like, we obviously need to bring a healthy dose of skepticism. But at the same time, they have a proven track record behind them where it's like, if they've always charged us a fair price for a fair product, I think if they're going to go down a microtransaction route for a multiplayer game, I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt and at least see what they want to do first before I jump down their throat and be like, oh no, that's definitely going to be bad.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I've never seen another another company that is so pro-consumer in its branding that like, if they did it, like they know it would be the death of CD Projekt Red if they did anything really.
I mean, they've worked so hard to build this brand.
They have, right?
What are they going to? They're going to tarnish that brand. What? So charging
for a $20 skin?
For a $20 skin?
Nah.
I mean, like, what the hell, man? Like, it's so dumb.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Anyway,
I think
lots of other
fine.
companies have made that call though, and let's look at Bethesda. Like, let's be
or
real.
Blizzard, for instance. Like, they did lay golden eggs, but not anymore.
All right. There's also what have we got here? We've got J Freak People. He says, catching you live for the first time. I'm Polish and CD Projekt Red makes me so effing proud. Good luck figuring out what the currency is. It's Czech dollars.
Krones.
Whatever.
Something like that.
The Czech bucks.
Czech bucks.
I am Alfarius. He says, He says, my girlfriend and I recently finished Outer Wilds together. Both had tears in our eyes at the end. Most beautiful game we ever played. Thanks, Ralph. I told you, man. It's the best ending of a video game of all time.
I played a bit of it. I dabbled. I did not finish it.
William Day Sharon with $40. Thank you very much. That's very generous. He says, good morning, guys. Hope you're both doing well. Just wanted to ask, would you guys say is the best and worst Call of Duty? And what are your thoughts on Black Ops Cold War? Thanks. I'm not a massive COD dude, so I actually don't have like a ranked list of COD games that I would...
Well, I mean, I guess the only one that I would say is the last one. What was that called?
Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare. That was an amazing campaign, at least.
It's pretty good. I mean, I like that a lot. I've only seen the brief snippets of the Black Ops Cold War multiplayer stuff. I don't know. I feel like you can't really judge a COD until you really get stuck into it and play it. And even then, I'm not the best person to judge it because I haven't like played them all and whatever. You should go check out the Act Man for that. He'll give you the skinny on what's good and what's not on that. But anyway, I'll definitely check it out.
Speaking of skinny,
go on.
Okay. Legit question. Why is Anthony Joshua on here? Because UFC is UFC. Anthony Joshua is a boxer. Is that the Washington Post putting the wrong... Like, is he in this game?
Is he? But has he now gone over to UFC? Are you
he's
sure?
Not in UFC.
I don't know.
He's a boxer. He's like the heavyweight champ of the world right now, some shit.
Is he?
I think so.
It's gonna be pretty funny if you're wrong and the chat just explodes. With
Guys, let me know if UFC...
Stick to video games, Sam!
If UFC now has Anthony Joshua in it, which I don't think they do. Anyway, EA has also, yet again, done a number. Okay.
Yep.
Now, we actually kind of covered this.
We covered it fully.
Yeah. But we were talking about UFC 3 back in the day, but back at the time now. So now it seeped its way, it seems, into UFC 4, that they're now putting like pop-up ads or something in the middle, or not in the middle, but like throughout the actual experience of the game. Could be loading times or whatever it is, right? It's not like you're about to throw a right hook and they're like, oh, sorry, just before you do that, have you heard about this cigarette company? They're really good. Yeah. Lucky Strikes.
Your doctor recommends Camel cigarettes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, of course, there was gigantic outcry. It takes a lot, I think, in the sports community of EA for shit to get outcry. Like, it takes a lot because, as we know, FIFA and all Madden and all that, and UFC, like, it's predominantly going to be a casual audience. And they don't really... They aren't the type usually to loud they're not very loud in the space of monetization.
I mean, it's like, I feel like they're loud, it's just they don't do anything about it.
But
like,
they don't really care, I don't think.
They'll complain and then they'll still just buy everything all the time anyway. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's what COD people do. Remember they said ban COD and then they all that photos of all playing COD at the same...
Boycott Modern Warfare 2. And
That's
like,
right. And they were all playing it, right?
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter if you're hardcore or casual, you still play it.
This here is like, we warned about this earlier. We're like, this is coming. Do you know what was really scummy about this though? I don't know if you knew this. They actually didn't implement this feature for the first 2 to 3 weeks of the game being out, so that the review cycle could wash through.
Standard, yep.
And then after that review cycle had finished and all the reviews were out, then they added this feature in, and everyone's like, what the fuck, man? It's purposefully scummy. Like, it's purposefully deceptive. They knew people would hate this. They purposefully did it. And then they come out and they're like, this is their line here. They're like, this is the line. Earlier this week, the team turned on ad placements in EA Sports UFC that appeared during the replay moments. A spokesperson said, this type of advertising inventory is not new to the UFC franchise. Yeah, it fucking sucked before, but here it is again. Though we have typically reserved displaying ads to specific main menu titles or octagon logo placement. It's abundantly clear from your feedback that integrating ads into the replay and overlay experience is not welcomed. It's been disabled, and we apologize for any disruption to gameplay the players might have experienced. Like, fuck you, man. Like,
it's becoming more like that, isn't it? Where they, like, the review cycle sometimes won't have access to the monetization, before it's out. We've seen that before.
Well, we've seen that with COD. COD do that.
Yeah, there's some games that we've definitely seen that the e-store is not fully fleshed out, or it's not even accessible while you're actually reviewing the game. That is all because they want to make sure that you don't have anything to say on the monetization, because it's going to be pretty evil in 3 weeks' time. It's exactly the same kind of stuff.
Sure.
So
it is a shame, but you know what's not a shame? The announcements that came this week for the Xbox from Microsoft. The news came thick and fast. It was pretty crazy. There's a lot to get through, so let's just jump right into it.
Oh, is this the... oh, nice. Okay, naturally.
Thanks,
Naturally.
man. So, okay, let's talk release dates first, okay? We were
Are you surprised about the release date, number one?
No. I mean, the release date was very much kind of leaked earlier. There was a report that said that the PlayStation 5 would hit somewhere between November 13th and 20th, and that Xbox would go the week before that. It's now been confirmed that the Xbox will release on November 10th. That's the Xbox One X, the Xbox Series. I always call it Xbox One X. Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. So the S and
name
X.
is just horrendous.
So bad.
I mean,
So
it's
bad.
just so dumb. Just make it...
But if you say that, though, it's so weird. I said this on Twitter. I'm like, this is dumb. All these Xbox people,
Of course.
start getting really mad at you,
course.
and they're like, and they retweet you, and they're like, oh, it's disgusting how these Sony ponies attack. It's so weird that if you
Yeah.
even criticize the name of a console, that mindless, dumbass console warriors will jump on a thread and be like, don't you dare insult the name. I hate console war bullshit. It's so sad.
So it's
Anyone
coming out-
that anyone's in that, you're a loser. Okay? Straight up loser.
PC must race. So available November 10th. It is kind of interesting though that PlayStation is going to come out a week later. I wonder if people just wanting next gen so badly that they're going to be like, I can't wait a week. I can't.
I mean,
I need to just jump on right now.
I don't think so. I don't think
Some people, you know.
I think that if you're really juiced into the Sony ecosystem and all your games are there and your friends list and your achievements and whatever else, you're not going to buy an Xbox.
And all your smart delivery, that's also important.
What?
In terms of all your games that you've already bought on a specific console, some of them are going to be smart delivery.
Sure.
It also is an incentive to either wait or jump on the Xbox or whatever, right? But that is interesting. Pre-order September 22. Have you pre-ordered yet? I don't know.
It's not September 22nd yet.
I mean, sorry. No, that's right. Are we going to pre-order? Yes, we are. That's right.
Of course, absolutely. And also, the other thing as well, this is really powerful, okay? They have these Xbox All Access plans, right? So before, in any other console generation, you buy a console outright. This is the first console generation where you're actually able to buy it on a plan in many countries and territories. So for example, in the States here, it's $34.99 for 24 months and you get yourself an Xbox Series X. In Australia, I think it's $46. And we can get it through Telstra, which is the biggest telco here. And that also includes 24 months of Game Pass, okay? It's actually the same price. It's actually slightly cheaper to buy it on this plan than it is to buy it outright. What I would have expected with this kind of thing is that, they would charge you some financing fee. So you actually end up paying an extra $200 for it or more, but you have the convenience of having it today. It's not like that. It's literally, there's no downside whatsoever to just doing this deal because it's the same price. You know what I mean? And you get to spread the payments out over 2 years. It's so weird that they did this, but they did it. It's fantastic.
It's everything Xbox is doing is so pro-consumer. It's the only lifeline they have. It really is though. If we really think about it, PlayStation has the exclusives in the bag.
Yeah.
So Xbox needs to be like the most friendliest consumer-looking brand on the planet.
As we have said for a long time now, it's the world's most optional console.
It is.
Okay. If you
is.
if you have a PC, you don't need an Xbox in inverted commas because you can get everything that's exclusive to the Xbox on a PC.
Yep.
If you have a existing Xbox One, you are going to be able to play most of the games on it, like cross-gen for the next few years at least. That's what they've guaranteed. So it's really optional. And then there's like the library of PlayStation exclusives, which you can only get on PlayStation. You can't get those on PC, at least not yet. So it's very optional to buy the Xbox One X, which means that they really have to try and find reasons to pull you onto that console. A competitive price point is one. The Xbox All Access is another.
Game Pass in itself is...
And Game Pass is, I think, the really big one. Okay?
Game Pass is the most valuable thing I've ever seen in gaming. Like, hands down.
Agreed.
It's $10 here or something, right? In Australia, or like $13 or whatever. It is like 100 games constantly in the cycle. And, if we are going to segue into it, there's also EA now. Now, we're not big fans of EA, but EA can make some good games. They've made some good games in the past, and they continue to make good games. Last one is Jedi Fallen Order. Now, to have 60 games thrown onto the platform, and they did a very cool way of how they announced this on Twitter. You saw that?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Tell the audience, Sam.
Okay, well, I just want to tell the audience. So, Xbox was like, yo, EA, do you want to come into Game Pass? And EA's like, you want us on Game Pass? And Xbox was like, yes. Something like that, right? So they did like this back and forth
It was
thing.
way cooler the way they did it. Let's just put it that way.
Whatever.
Right?
I can't remember the actual what they were talking about, but there was a bit of a to and fro there. Okay,
Sure.
Everyone knew what was going on, and then sure enough, EA's like, okay, well let's bring all our cool games over. 60 games, including Anthem. Okay, so that's pretty cool.
Is it on this page? Yeah, there it is. It's good. Place of honor right there.
It's
that's
right
it.
there, everybody.
But seriously though, it's Xbox Game Pass. But now you get EA Play Library, which is like 60 games. It's actually more than 60 games, but for some reason they said 60 games. And you get it for no additional cost to Game Pass. Like, okay.
So I think it's nearly doubled. I think it's nearly doubled the amount that you can see on Game Pass.
But it's at least an extra, like, 30 to 40% of games now that just immediately got added to Game Pass as a result of this deal.
Well, at the moment it says is there's...
I know, these numbers aren't quite right, because what they're quoting here is like the Xbox thing versus there's more games available on PC, I believe, than there is on Xbox. And EA Play's library has more games on PC than it does on console. There's all those sorts of things, right? So the way it really breaks down, though, is that the Xbox Game Pass library increased by about 30 to 40% at least, including EA's entire library of EA Play, and it's absolutely free of charge in inverted commas. Like, no additional cost to that. That's insanity. And I guess this is what has become so compelling when it comes to something like the Xbox Series S, which was confirmed this week. It was leaked. And did you see that tweet that when the leaks happened for this machine?
You mean all the memes are like...
No, the Xbox account actually did the whole, like, the side glance meme.
Yes, of course.
And that tweet
That's
got,
when
like,
I knew it was real.
200,000 leaks, 200,000 retweets, whatever. So this was released, this was leaked this week. I didn't believe that this was real at first when I saw it.
It looks like, may I take your order? Like,
It really does. Like, you walk up there and they're like, "Sir, this is an Xbox." It's a weird design. This top thing here is for cooling. Because this thing apparently runs really hot and it needs a fan the size of a dinner plate. Yeah. But the Xbox Series S, it is out, or it's confirmed. You can get this for $25 a month or $299 retail. In Australia, equates to $449. By the way, these prices that they quote here don't include taxes, right? The local taxes.
That's true.
So in Australia, the final price that we get, it would have converted to, like, I think $410, and I think we're paying $449. So I think it's pretty competitive, like, in terms of we've got our taxes included in that final price. Not bad at all, actually.
It's really not bad.
Yeah, so you're getting a next-gen console for, like, $299, very competitive price. And the specs on it are really impressive. I mean, this is what we're talking about here. It's 1440p.
Which is 2K, right?
2K, which is up to 120 FPS. DirectX ray tracing, variable rate shading, don't know what that means.
Nope.
Variable refresh rate, okay, sure. Ultra low latency, not sure what that means. Custom 512GB SSD, we will come back to that. 4K streaming media playback and 4K upscaling for games.
So, yep.
Go on.
I was just going to say, now, I think a lot of the comments that I saw on Twitter were predominantly talking about the 512GB SSD.
Big time.
Now, that is going to be an issue for a lot of people, because we're already seeing COD be like 220 gigabytes in current gen.
Sure.
There's going to be games that are definitely going to come out and are going to be 400 gigs. Like, it's going to happen. We're going to see open worlds. We're going to see COD 2024 is going to be a terabyte.
Sure.
But legitimately, it's going to be a problem. But I see I think there's an argument there about if you're paying so little for an Xbox compared to Xbox Series X or whatever it's called. Yeah, Xbox Series X. If you need to buy a little SSD that plugs in the back.
Sure.
If that's the necessary evil for you to be able to buy something so much cheaper, then I think that's probably fine. I do think that plenty of people only maybe have 2 or 3 games installed at any given time. You can manage with 512 on a lot of games. Having said that, like Red Dead and all these kind of games that have come out this current gen, if you have that plus COD, you've used a lot of your space up.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to recognize that if you're watching this channel, you're a massive nerd, okay? That's just a fact, okay? You're
an absolute mad dog.
You have lots of games you've played and lots of games installed, okay? You are not a casual gamer if you're watching the Laymen. Let's just put it that way, right? And I feel like we kind of need to remember that a lot of people that play games, they will just play COD or FIFA, or they just play Fortnite or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and so they don't worry as much about like storage capacity. They can deal with it, whatever else. And so as an entry point for them, just like, I just want to upgrade to next gen to play the next COD or whatever, it's a very, very attractive package. You know what I mean? Like, no question about that. So I definitely think it's going to be a problem for more hardcore gamers. I think for the casual market, not so much. Either way, though, this deal is crazy given the fact that you get this cheaper console, you can play Game Pass games, so you're paying like $10 a month. You wouldn't even, if you're buying it on the Xbox All Access deal, you're not even paying that $10 a month extra. It's already baked into the price of the console. Yep. And you've got a library of like 200 games, including all of Microsoft's day one next-gen releases. And it's like so cheap. It's such an incredible value. It's insane.
The last thing also is with cloud streaming, some people will want to play a lot of games on cloud, but they'll want to have like no latency issues with certain games. So like they're able to play this. If the next like Dark Souls comes out, you probably don't want to be at the mercy of like latency, right?
Sure.
So you know that's also going to give people an avenue of only wanting to put specific games on this and playing a bulk of their games still on stream.
Yep.
Which is going to be a thing. So that's also stuff to consider.
For sure. There was actually also Hardware Unboxing did a comparison. Have you seen these photos yet?
Yeah.
The size of these units is really interesting, I think. So here we go. We have the price of this is the size of the Series X versus the PS4.
It's huge.
It's very chunky. It's not going to fit underneath your TV cabinet thing. The slots are not for that, so get ready to put this on the side of your television because it's a chunky boy. Then you can see them here, but he's got kind of like a wide angle lens there that really fucks with the ratios. You can't really tell. But this is a really good comparison here of how wide it is compared to the PlayStation 4 Pro. And then you've got the Series S.
Like legitimately half.
It's
in every aspect.
Half. It's so small. Like, I couldn't believe how small it was. And if you consider the fact that this thing can do 1440p gaming at 60 FPS, at least that's what it claims. This is...
It's a bit bigger than a Switch. Like,
yeah,
it's a bit bigger than a Switch.
That'd be pretty funny. I reckon someone will mod that. Someone's gonna make like giant Switch controllers and slide them on the side and put a screen, like a tablet on top of it. That will exist. Okay, that will be a thing that someone will do for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the comparison between the Xbox One X and the Series X.
There's obviously a 3090 in that thing or something because like. I mean, we've really gone...
3090, hardly.
No.
3090 is worth like
$1 billion.
4 of the consoles in terms of price.
We've really gone the other way. Like, everything else is getting smaller. This generation is like, how big can we make it? PS5 is like, it dwarfs that, right? It's gigantic.
PS5 is way bigger than that. It's like a monitor. It's like a PC tower.
It's gigantic. Like... It's crazy. But look, I mean, that's obviously what they need to do to get all these actually into the power sphere that we need it to be.
Power sphere,
The power sphere,
It's all about the power sphere, gamers.
It is. Okay, that's a new word that we're coining.
You're like one of those marketing people that appears in video game videos trying to use the lingos.
It's all about the power sphere, okay?
Really excited to welcome gamers into this new power sphere. The other thing, speaking of power spheres, Dolby Atmos and Dolby Vision have been confirmed to be available on the next-gen Xbox consoles. Dolby Vision apparently gives you better looking HDR performance and color and range and all this sort of stuff. This is a really bullshit mocked up comparison
You
here.
can
like,
never
we'll just
ever
make
tell.
this look super dark and
It's
then
like those infomercials were all black and white. Oh, I can't hold this properly.
Sure.
It's
so
ridiculous.
that's there with that. But yeah, there's that. And then there's also Dolby Atmos. Now, I have not used either of these things. I don't really know anything about Dolby Vision, to be honest, but I've heard very good things about Dolby Atmos in terms of like the sound recreation, the sort of like sound immersion, whatever else. Again, haven't experienced it myself, can't comment, but I know a lot of people really like this technology and they're very excited to know that it will be available on Xbox One X and S. So look out for that. I think you need to pay for these though, from memory. There's an app that you download,
really?
and I think if you want to unlock its full capability, like you can test it or something, but I don't think it's expensive. I think it's a couple of bucks maybe.
Okay.
But either way, they're going to be available. And there's actually more Xbox news coming, but let's take a break and do some super chats for a moment, because there's a lot here. We've got what do we got here? We've got Master Doom for $25. Thank you, friend. That's very generous. He says, love the content, boys. Grab a brew on me. That's quite a few brews, Master Doom. So we thank you. Colin McGinley for $20 says, Ralph, treat yourself to Return of the Obra Dinn next time. You need a bite-sized gaming break. Think Outer Wilds, good. Prey, Mooncrash, good. Sam, it's also out on Switch. I have had that game installed on my computer for so long.
I was going to say, it's on your family
share. It's on my computer. I've always been meaning to jump into it and play it. I really want to play it. Apparently there's another one that's come out recently called Paradise Killer, which I read very good things about. It's very similar. It's like a open world detective game, but it pulls on that kind of like curiosity-led exploration and discovery the same way that Outer Wilds does. So I'm very keen to check that out as well. Senu.com says, worried for Series S RAM, 8 gigabytes at 224 gigabytes, 2 gigabyte at 56 gigabytes. I don't know. The other thing I will say actually about next-gen consoles, a few developers have expressed publicly, and also to me personally, that they're worried about the way that the Xbox Series S will hold back next-gen development.
Yeah.
Because all games need to be made for
both consoles.
And for, anything. Like, if you're making a game, you're really held back by the least powerful console, okay? Now, I don't know. I've seen lots of claims that because, like, the CPU is the same across both consoles, that you really shouldn't have to sacrifice anything in terms of game quality. And you should be able to make whatever you want across all of them, and it will not hold it back. I've heard different things from different developers, and they're like, no, this thing that's on the console is definitely a problem, and it will hold back development and whatever else. We are going to be pegged to the Xbox Series S capability for the next 5 to 7 to 8 years or whatever. That's a problem.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was going to say, I think that there are some creative changes that you'll need to make. Like, if there's some game that has some gigantic weather sequence thing that, like, needs, I don't know, massive power that really was only possible.
That's like a weather sequence, for example, is probably going to be quite CPU driven. And the argument is that is probably going to be somewhere that's consistent across. But I've also heard stuff like, specifically about RAM, and the absence of RAM is going to cause problems. I don't exactly know. And I'm not a developer, I'm not technical in that way, but I've definitely heard very mixed messages about that. Some developers saying, no, it's not a problem. Some developers saying, hey, this is a big problem and it's disappointing. And as I said, they put that to me personally, and I guess we'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. So, we've got Gamer Guy Leviathan. I'm a PS4 player for years. I'm going to the Series X with all access this year. Sony just isn't earning my dollar. Brand loyalty be damned. Wow, that's a big call. It's the very first time I've heard Sony's not earning my dollar. I feel like Sony definitely has earned my dollar. Definitely when it comes to exclusive content.
Big time.
But I agree that the pro-consumer and the choice that's available and Xbox Game Pass make Xbox super attractive. And it doesn't seem like PlayStation have any interest in competing with that,
Yeah, I do think the PS Now, whatever it is, it doesn't seem to be overly compelling.
No.
But the exclusive on PlayStation are extremely pro-consumer. There's no monetization in it. It's always about just putting out a really fantastic product. Time and time again, I feel like exclusives under the PlayStation banner are getting to the stage, if not already at the stage, of Nintendo. It's like, it's going to be serious quality, or 9 times out of 10, it's some quality. There's some serious quality there. That's my take on that. But
Akshay is back. He says EA might try to cannibalize its sports games to allow them to support single-player games while keeping shareholders happy. Let the jocks buy FIFA and UFC. Well, I think that's basically the truth. I mean, we get Squadrons and we get Jedi Fallen Order, and sports people get UFC ads. So there's no justice, but that's how it is. Cornvac says, "Sup guys." Excuse me, TNT fishing here. Is that the one where you throw dynamite into the water and then explodes? Yep. I'm not joking, by the way. Is that actually a thing?
That's it.
There you go. But I deleted that channel. Oh, wait, no, that's the guy. Okay, yeah, cool.
Oh, I met this guy at PAX.
Sure. A bit tough with life, keep it going. Anyway, any update on your daily video format? I love the old format, to be honest, but love the memes. To be honest, we're just still having fun playing games, and we're going to stick with that. We like our weekly news dump, where we just get to catch up on the weekly news and
I do like
whatever.
That.
We don't have to chase bullshit tiny stories to try and fill days of content. We know that a lot of people miss the daily news drop. We get it. And part of us misses it too, but at the same time, we just want to have some fun with games and for a few months and see how that goes and take it from there. So thanks for sticking with us. We appreciate all of you. We've got here your boy Saeed. He says, "G'day lads, love the new content and wishing you guys well. Have you guys had a chance to check out the new Battle Royale title Spellbreak?" No. I don't know if there's Australian service for that. I actually haven't checked.
I heard that a lot of people were playing it at the beginning. I don't know if a lot of people are still playing it now. Rich downstairs was telling me about it.
Okay.
Some big streamers were looking to jump on. Even in the building, I think the Click were maybe going to jump on. I don't know if they did, but I am excited actually to play that. If we end up doing a let's play,
we could do a let's play
because that looks really fun.
If there's Aussie servers, I don't want to play a battle royale if there's no Aussie servers.
True.
So I'll have to check that out. Dolphin Bud. He says the all access in AU is really good, but you need to have a Telstra broadband or monthly mobile plan first. That kind of sucks. I did forget that, actually. That is true.
Oh, you need to already be with Telstra.
Because I'm already with Telstra and on my internet, so that's fine. But yeah, you do need to have a plan with them, otherwise that kind of sucks. That's disappointing.
Oh, that kind of sucks, yes.
Hopefully they make that available somewhere else, because that is quite bullshit. Brad Cowdery says, finally up for Laymen stream. Cheers for the content, boys. Hope Peroni 20 hasn't affected you too much. We've been okay. Everyone here's been safe and sound, all good. Freddie Plaza says, hello from New York City, gentlemen.
Ooh.
I know you're all busy, but I implore you to try Trails in the Sky on Steam. Best dialogue and stories in games, no hyperbole. Is that the JRPG? I think it is. Is that the one? Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, I will have a look. Thanks, man. Rid says, next gen is great and all, but where's the Cuphead DLC? Dean Takahashi is wondering, man. He really is. He's keen for that one.
He's waiting.
Adam Williams says, haven't been able to catch you guys lately with my schedule. Have a drink on me. We really appreciate that. Thank you, friend. And Lord Gavin says,
$3, so that's like 4 drinks. So I appreciate that.
Lord Gavin says, you're buying an RTX 3090 for $1,500 when the 3080 80% off or
definitely 3080.
I'm gonna get the 3090, I think, just because it'll be it's like for the whole next few years, so we'll see.
Well, I mean, all that 8K gaming that's coming our way, guys.
All that big 8K gaming. It's all about the 8K
baby.
gaming. One thing, continuing on the Xbox news, it turns out Xbox Series S won't apply Xbox One enhancements to backwards compatible titles. You might remember that it was revealed a while ago that if you play old games on an Xbox One X, it will sometimes do extra shit, like massively jack the frame rate or whatever. I don't exactly know, to be honest. But they did say specifically that on a per title basis, they're going to add enhancements to backwards compatibility titles. They have said that that is not going to be happening on the S. Specifically, Xbox Series S was designed to be the most affordable next-gen console and play next-gen games at 1440p at 60 FPS. To deliver the highest quality backwards compatible experience consistent with the developer's original intent, the Xbox Series S runs the Xbox One S version of backward compatibility games while applying improved texture filtering, higher and more consistent frame rates, and faster load times and auto HDR. So they're basically saying, hey, there's some benefits to playing it because you're playing it on a more powerful machine, but the specific enhancements that are designed for backwards compatibility games, which will be like per game basis and added onto them, they're not going to be available on the S. You've got to get the X for that. Yep. So there's that. The other thing was that Xbox Game Pass for PC is doubling its price next week. Disgusting.
Terrible.
Microsoft, so anti-consumer. You suck them in and then you double the price. Now people have to pay $10 a month for 180 games? What a rip-off.
I'm out.
What a rip-off, man. I'm done.
I'm back on the Sony pony.
I'm back. That's right.
But I'm pretty sure that they already announced that this was coming,
They did. From the very start.
Exactly. This is just like an entry thing. Like I think they just wanted to get people into the ecosystem on PC and into the platforms itself, right?
That's right.
So that's fine. Like I saw this article, this headline, I'm like, I thought this was already coming.
It was.
Is there actual backlash to this? Because if there is,
then
there shouldn't be.
No one cares.
Okay.
They've always said it's an introductory price for the service. Most subscriptions platforms will do some kind of introductory deal to like get you on, and then they increase the price. Fair enough. $10 a month for everything that is on Game Pass.
That's US.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like,
I want you to argue with me that that's a rip-off. Please, in the comments, just start talking about how that's not a fair price.
That's CD Projekt Red stuff right there, okay? It really is, though. It's good stuff, everybody. So, and when I first jumped on there, I was actually like, there are so many games. We've played a few games through that.
I've played a lot of games through that, for sure. So often I'll see some game that's like, this game came out. That's interesting.
Oh, yes.
Like Crusader Kings 3, one of the highest rated games of this generation for PC, one of the highest rated strategy games of all time. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I guess I'll check that out at some point. It's on Game Pass. I'm just like, how? Like, how did that happen? You know, it's just straight away. I haven't started playing it, by the way, because I don't have time. But, you know, it's nuts that happens so often, where some game that I'm looking forward to just appears on day one on Game Pass. I'm like, thanks, Uncle Phil. You're the man. Something else that will be appearing on Game Pass, mysteriously, is Gears of War Tactics.
Now, I'm actually really surprised that I think this is the first-party studio game from Xbox that actually released on PC first. I don't think we've ever seen that before.
So I think you're right.
I remember when we were doing the review cycle of this, you were like, well, I'm going to play this on console. I'm like, no, you can't. You're like,
that's right.
You're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's an Xbox game. Of course it is. because we were both like shocked that, of course, that this is a game that not only is an Xbox Studios game, it's almost like a mascot. Like to Xbox, it's Halo and there's Gears of War, right? I know this is Gears of War Tactics. It's like it's lower on the rung, but yeah, it wasn't on there. So they're finally bringing it out.
Yep.
And funny enough, they're bringing it on November 10th.
That's right.
It's exactly the day the PS5 comes out, everybody.
Yeah. It's how about that? I played this game. I reviewed it. We both did.
Yeah. I thought it was good.
It's a great game. I really enjoyed it. I think it just has some fantastic sort of pop and shine to it, and it's not the deepest tactics game ever, but overall as a package I just had a really great time with it, and I really recommend it to you. And as I said, when it comes out on November 10th, if you haven't yet played it because you have a console and you're getting an Xbox, you could do a lot worse, man, I'll tell you that much.
Definitely.
So there's that, which is pretty cool.
And that will boost a lot of sales, because apart from that,
I don't think it'll boost sales. It's a pretty niche title.
Well, I mean, only because, I mean, what else is coming out day one for next gen?
Well, that's a good question, Sam. And that's a beautiful segue, Sam. You set it all up beautifully. Because it turns out Assassin's Creed Valhalla will launch on November 10th. So if you didn't know, this was actually going to be released on the 17th of November, 2 days before the release of Cyberpunk. And as we said when we covered Ubisoft yesterday, a lot of people were like, oh, they're so scared of Cyberpunk, so they moved it forward a week. It's like, no, they moved it forward a week so that when you buy your brand new Xbox console, you go, oh, may as well grab the new Assassin's Creed while I'm at it, you know?
Here's my hunch.
Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Hunch time.
17th of November may have been the day the PS5 was coming out. And then they're like, oh, this is coming out earlier. Okay, well, I'll move it to this then. And that's what I'm thinking, guys. I reckon they always had in their intention to be a day one for the next gen.
But what? Why wouldn't they just try and be... What?
Yeah, so
you reckon they had intelligence that the PS4 was coming... The PS5 was coming out then?
Something like that, right?
Maybe.
Because Assassin's Creed, if they're going to release in that window, of course they want to be day one.
Sure.
So if they've already come out with a November 17th, or if that was the leaked date or whatever, and they've all of a sudden moved it to November 10th, for me that's saying, well, they might have already known that one of those gens, PlayStation, was coming out 17th of November, and they're like, well, screw it, we want to be day one of the next gen, let's bring it on the 10th.
I agree. The really big news for this, though, is that with the Xbox Series XS, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will take full advantage of enhanced graphics, giving players the opportunity to experience open world of Norway and England down to the very last detail. On Xbox Series X, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will run at 60 FPS in full 4K. Now, I'm sorry, but that's good. That's very, very good.
Legit question. If you weren't a YouTuber, but you still played heaps of games, what would you buy? The X or the S? If you didn't do it for a living...
If I played heaps of games, obviously I'm buying the X.
You would buy the X?
I mean, the X is for enthusiasts. The X is for people who are serious about it. And the S is for... You know, look, maybe you're on a budget, let's be real as well. Like, you know, times are tough right now, for sure. But I think if you're a really hardcore gamer and you can afford it, you would go for the X. And maybe if you were struggling at the moment, times are tough, then you go for the S.
I was at dinner last night with a friend, and I couldn't give him a single reason why to buy the X. I was like, well, I know what kind of games you want. I know how much you're probably going to play this thing. X, Y, and Z, the S is for you. I think there's so many people that will end up buying the S.
You get 4K, though. And you're going to get more consistent higher frame rates on...
I hear you, but like, that's a big jump up in terms of price. A lot of people playing it at 60 FPS on a lot of games and getting it still on 2K, it's still making a lot of sense to buy the S.
I hear that. I think you're partly right. I agree with that. S is a very, very competitive product in that regard. So
like if you're playing like FIFA and a bit of COD like on the weekends, dude, S is the way to go. Anyway, that was a bit of a... friend? Alicia's sister's partner.
Right, okay. So I play COD, I play a bit of FIFA.
Yeah.
Which one should I buy?
Yeah. And he loves Forza. He loves his car games.
There you go.
All right.
But look, the fact that, because this was actually an update, because we had heard that the Valhalla was only going to be running at 30 FPS. They said it's going to be running at least 30 FPS. And we're like, oh, that's bullshit, fuck that. And everyone's like, no, boo. And then sure enough, they've come back and said, no, we made it work at 60 FPS, 4K. We need to see how consistent that frame rate is. Just because they promised 60 doesn't mean they'll give us 60, especially when it comes to Ubisoft games. They're not the strongest when it comes to optimization. But, you know, we'll see. And either way, I really welcome that move. You know, 60 FPS for next gen should be the minimum. Like, I'm sorry, but we should not be getting 30 FPS games. No.
I wonder if PS5 is, because I know it's less powerful, but I know that the actual architecture is designed to work just as well, kind of thing.
Yep.
I wonder if it's going to be 60 FPS on PS5. Hopefully it is.
In connection with that, Watch Dogs Legion will launch on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Stadia, and PC. Don't forget Stadia, by the way. Very
Sorry,
important.
guys.
On October 29th, and on the next gen of Xbox systems on November 10th. Buy Xbox One or PlayStation 4 editions and upgrade to the next gen system at no additional cost. It's very good to see Ubisoft embracing the whole free upgrade thing. 505 games. They're doing it, but it's impossible for Control, guys. It's just impossible.
You can't
even though they just did it.
You can't do it.
So look forward to that as well. And the other thing that they confirmed was that Rainbow Six Siege will be available on next-gen consoles at no additional cost to play at 120 FPS.
That's crazy.
At 4K. I mean, that's pretty good. Now, I don't know the exact release date of that version of the game, but either way, it's pretty cool to know that that is coming and it's free. And how's that? How about that? How about
How you like them apples?
We've got some super chats here while we're getting close to the end. We've got here... we've got Daniel Caparos. He says, can you try a game called Elix? It's a game from Piranha Bytes, and since you like Wasteland 3 so much, Elix would be a great game to review. I have Elix. I've always seen. I know what the box looks like. That's how I remember games. I remember what the box image looks like.
Yes.
And yeah, I've got it, but I've never played it. So I will hopefully check it out at some point. Did we miss another super chat here? No, we didn't. We didn't. We're cool. Guys, there's also some news in relation to the battle that Apple is having with pretty much everyone at this point.
Oh, really? Everyone now?
Well, I mean, before then they were fighting with Microsoft because and like Google and whatever because they wanted to have Stadia and Project xCloud available,
of course,
on the iOS.
Yes.
And then obviously Epic went to war with them because they're like, we don't want to have to pay you 30% for stuff. We want to pay you less. Apple have updated their terms of service to say that they will allow game streaming services so long as that each game is submitted for review, and get this, okay? Each game needs to be downloadable directly from the App Store. So you could have Project xCloud, for example, right?
Yes.
And instead of logging into the xCloud app and then streaming Gears of War and playing it and whatever else, what they want you to do is they want you to upload Gears of War to the App Store, and then you download Gears of War.
I see where this is going.
Where it's going is just to be fuckwits and to make it impossible.
I reckon it's because they want to trace... They want the app stores within those specific games that they want to take 30% of each of those games.
Correct. Exactly right. That's all it's about. This is just Apple being the worst company.
Apple has just fallen into the most grubbiest, evil...
They've always been like this. Always.
At one point they were really innovative and they were really pushing us forward in like phones and tablets and like everyone was like, holy shit, every single year Apple is like outdoing itself. Then Samsung and all these other, and like, you know, the Google Pixel and like all these other companies just like came out and been like, you know what, we can do it just as good. And Apple's just like, well, if you guys want some wheels for your tower, they're $1,000. You know why? Because it says Apple on it. It's so ridiculous. And if I ever meet someone that's like, you have an Android, I'm like, you are a sheep. Do not talk to me, you sheep.
This move here from Apple is specifically designed to tighten up their terms of service for upcoming lawsuits and to make it impossible for these streaming services to exist on their platform. It's not a practical solution. Like, they're specifically creating impossible regulatory requirements that no one would agree to, so they can say, well, we're offering you a path to it. It's just you that doesn't want to choose it.
But this is the thing. I mean, if gaming streaming becomes the thing that I believe it will be...
Oh, here we go.
Apple will have one of two choices. It'll fade into non-existence in the gaming space.
It already is.
Right? It already is. But in terms of they won't be at the front seat of like if I'm a gamer, right, which of course I am, guys, hardcore gamer, right, and I walk into, Telstra in Australia, like a phone outlet place, and they say, well, if you want to buy an iPhone, you can't play any xCloud, you can't play PS Now, but if you want to buy a Samsung, you can play all the games, you can play all the console games. I'm going to do that. So many people are going to not buy iPhone in the future if they continue being so annoying with this crap.
Agreed.
So Apple and Tim Cook, they need to actually not do this.
Tim Cook is cooked.
Okay, he's cooked.
All right, guys. Speaking of Apple, Epic giving away free games.
Okay, yeah,
they're fighting with each other.
Yeah,
so there's 2 free games available this week on the Epic Game Store. There's a Railway Empire.
Sounds terrible.
And Railway. People who get off on building model trains.
Whenever I see Empire at the bottom, Nah, not into it.
What about Empire Earth, Sam? What about that one?
Oh, that was a good game.
Yeah, there you go.
Early
See?
2000s.
You're like, that wasn't at the bottom, that was the top.
That was great. You can go all the way into like 3000. You know, it was great. Yeah.
Water, when the water turns tastes like wine, is also available. Apparently, there was this one here, which is 3 out of 10, episode 5. The result. I don't know what this is, but it says it's available for free. Sludge Life, Dolores, a Thumbleweed Park mini adventure. I don't know what these are, but anyway, they're available. Free games on Epic. Go and grab them if you want. Guys, to finish up, get hyped. There is a new Zelda game coming. We're very excited. Everyone was really pumped for this one, so we're finally so pleased to see that it's been revealed. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. It's a new Zelda action game for the Switch. It tells the story 100 years prior in the Hyrule lore thing for Breath of the Wild, and it's basically like Dynasty Warriors, but you know.
And this is actually a successor of another one that they've already done. They already
did Hyrule Warriors. Yeah.
I did not play it. I saw trailers or whatever, and I'm like, no, I don't like Dynasty Warriors stuff anymore. Like, I remember playing it on PS2, and I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, no. Like, I've done that. I don't want waves of just enemies doing this. Anyway, so that's pretty lackluster.
This is, it's coming out. Go on.
But there is potential Switch news. Okay.
Is there?
Remember?
No.
Yeah. There's the Nintendo is now asking developers to get ready for 4K.
I did see that.
So that could be pretty fetch. But like, is Nintendo really jumping from 720p to 4K? I don't think so. And now I know that 1080p is currently possible on docked, but I mean, I would expect Nintendo to maybe go into the 2K sphere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's 4K yet. I don't think I'm going to see Mario Party
so silly.
in 4K, man.
I agree.
And plus, it's not even...
Tetris 4K. That's what
Tetris 4K.
They can make it.
Or Mario Run 35, or that new one they've announced. I don't think we're going to see that in 4K. And I don't think we need to. But anyway.
I agree. Guys, that is Laymen Live for the week. We're 5 minutes over, but that's okay. We do it for you. We do it for the fans, okay? Because we love you. Thank you very much for being here. This week, we've got a lot coming up. We've got Among Us playthrough tomorrow.
Avengers.
We've got an Avengers review, which is coming.
BPM.
In like playthrough and impressions. There was something else we talked about this week that we're like, hey, we should do a let's play of that.
Oh, yes.
And we'll go and remember whatever that was.
Whatever it is now.
And that's it. So stick around. Thank you for being here.
That's
it. There's more, I'm sure.
I'm sure we have more. But anyway,
we appreciate you. Thank you very much. And we love you. And we will see you next week. Laymen out.